Good morning everyone, it's Vlogmas day 18. This morning I took my brother to school, then I started getting ready and I have CBT. So I'm just about to leave to go into town, find some parking and walk over to where my CBT class is. I'm not feeling too great today, I've got to be honest. I've got a really dicky tummy and I think I might have ate something a bit weird. I keep feeling like I'm going to throw up, but I haven't yet, so I'm still going to go to CBT and see how things go. And I'm so glad of the power of makeup because it makes me look less sick. But I really don't want to miss CBT because it wasn't on last week and it's not on for the next 2 weeks, and that would mean I wouldn't have been to a CBT class for 4 weeks, and I really don't want to go 4 weeks without some kind of mental health support. And after CBT, as always, I'll talk to you about it afterwards and things I've learned. Almost left without opening my advent calendar again, so let's do that. Day 18. Whisper. So I'm back from CBT now. I went and picked my brother up from school straight afterwards. We did a bit of GCSE revision with him, did some maths, which I'm not the best at. He's better at maths than me, but we went through the whole BBC Bite-Size thing, which made it a bit easier for me because then I didn't necessarily have to know all the answers, I just read it from there. But yeah, so I thought now that I'm back I would talk about my CBT class. So I've got my notes in front of me. Since I've been doing this every single week, I thought why not continue it. It was week 6 and I feel like I learned a lot, not so much knowledge wise but more about myself and some of the things I do unintentionally, or well, not unintentionally, that's the wrong word, more like I know I'm doing it but I find it hard to stop. So yeah, today we did a lot about like mindfulness, how much of our time is spent being mindful in the present and what we're doing right now in the activity we're doing or whatever we're experiencing in that moment, or how much does our mind wander off into worrying about different things or thinking about different things and ruminating. So it was like building on from last week where we did about rumination behaviors and things like that. So the main thing was like whether we're being like mindful or mindful, if that makes sense. And how it takes practice to really pay attention to what's happening in front of us, to stop our mind from wandering off and ruminating and going into this cycle where it's like dirty laundry in a washing machine, like we discussed last week. And also how it's okay to feel sad and worried and anxious, and it's okay to sometimes have our mind wander off down that kind of path, and it's okay to occasionally worry about things, and there's no point going over and over about it in your mind. You can have a bit of worry and then come back to the present moment, and that's normal. That's a normal thing to do. It's what pretty much every single human being does. They kind of compared a human mind to a pen of puppies and how it's kind of bedlam and these puppies are off doing loads of different things, they're all distracted, and it's all about teaching those puppies to come back, get them in a line, sit them down, reward them for it gently, like be positive, and every now and then one puppy might stray off, but gently bring it back, gently remind it to come back. And that's what it's like in the human mind, I guess. There was a book recommendation from another member in the group, which I think I'm definitely going to buy, and it was called, hold on, I wrote it down. It's called The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck by Mark Manson. So I'm going to be buying that. Maybe someone else might find that interesting as well. But yeah, it's about how to stop your mind from worrying about what other people are doing, thinking about what other people are thinking, and just focusing on yourself in the present and the now. We did an attention exercise, which is like mindful eating. So we had to have a sweet, which they gave us, which was very nice. They brought in a box of celebrations, especially with it being Christmas next week. So yeah, we had a sweet in a wrapper and we had to use our 5 senses to be mindful about eating it, before we eat it and during it. So yeah, your 5 senses are your sight, smell, touch, hearing and taste. So they had like this worksheet that they read through as we were doing it, and we had to like do it as they were telling us to do it. So it was like, think of the colour of the sweet you are holding and the colour of the wrapper and the shape of it. How does the light hit off it in the shadow? Are there any different colours inside it? What sounds does it make as you move it around? When you do move it around, can you feel the movements in your hands and your fingers and your muscles? How heavy is it? How does it feel when you hold it there? Start to open the wrapper. How does it feel when you're opening it? What muscles are you using when you're opening it? Smell the sweet. What does it smell like? Breathe in deeply, in and out. Think about what the smell is. How do you feel when you smell it? Does anything happen with your body as you smell it? So for me, obviously, it was salivating because I really wanted to eat the chocolate. Take one bite of the sweet, but hold it in your mouth. How does it feel in your mouth? What is it doing? Have a chew, and how does it feel as you chew it? And as it gets ready to swallow, how does your body feel when it needs to swallow? And then when you do swallow, how does it feel as it goes down? Yeah, reading that back, it kind of sounds weird, but you know what I mean, like, and that's just mindful eating. And if your mind starts to wander while you're doing that, bring it back to what you're doing, and that's fine. It's okay for your mind to wander, and it's okay to think about different things, but just gently bring it back to what you're doing and what you can see, what you can smell, what you can feel, what you can taste, and what you can hear. If you want to know more about mindfulness as a whole, there's loads on Google, but I think the pioneer who made it a thing, it's Jon Kabat-Zinn. I'll write that up here, Jon Kabat-Zinn. Mindfulness is just a really interesting way of preventing or helping yourself stay grounded, I guess, and stay in the moment rather than ruminating, worrying, panicking, feeling miserable, feeling sad, and then therefore getting more and more depressed. And so mindfulness is like a way of paying attention in a particular way. So it's like on purpose, it's in the present moment, what's happening right now, and it's like non-judgmental, so you're not like judging what's happening. And you can do this with lots of things. You can do it with walking, you can do it with exercise, you can do it with breathing exercises. You can be mindful about a lot of things that you're doing in that moment. And if you've got like an activity, be aware that you don't necessarily have to finish the whole activity. You don't have to be mindful during the whole thing. You can do something for 10 minutes, 5 minutes, 1 minute, and then come back to it later. There's nothing wrong with feeling like you need to do something else. So they linked it kind of with the trap or track theory, I guess, is it a theory? Thing that we've done in earlier weeks, and how we can use trap or track with regards to mindfulness and activities. So if you think of like a trigger for you and how that would send you off into a way where your mind would wander and start ruminating and start beating yourself up or start worrying or things like that, think of what that trigger was and see if you can set yourself up to a way of being more mindful and to prevent yourself from going into that. So you can pay attention on the things around you. So one of them actually, because one of my triggers for when I start to ruminate and then my mind goes crazy is when I'm in bed trying to sleep, when it's dark, there's no sounds or anything like that. So they said that there was an app, let me tell you the app as well, called Relaxing Melodies to Sleep, and it's just sounds that you can focus on as you're trying to sleep so your mind doesn't start going into this cycle of ruminating and unhelpful thinking. So yeah, that was super interesting. I really liked learning about this sort of stuff, and I do know that my mind goes off in these different places that are unhelpful thinking patterns, ruminating, worrying, panicking, overthinking, all that sort of stuff. And so it's nice to think of some different strategies I can try to put in place to, if I do go down that, just bring myself back to the present moment. They were saying that being mindful on what you're doing takes a lot of practice. It's really hard, especially when a lot of things are like on autopilot, or when a lot of things are like things you do every single day, like eating. You eat every single day, but how often do you actually sit there and think about what you're eating, what it smells like, what it actually tastes like in depth, what it looks like in depth? An example I can think of that directly affected me was the other day. I had a little bump in the car. It was completely my fault, and it was bumper to bumper traffic, and the cars are fine, people in the cars are fine. It was nothing serious. It was like a tiny little bump, not even a single mark on the car, and that's how little the bump was. But yeah, my mind was just elsewhere, and I was just panicking and worrying about different things that are happening in life and with family and things like that recently. And yeah, my mind just wandered. I wasn't paying attention for a split second, and that gave me like a slap across the face because I realised how serious that could have been. Honestly, I've never felt so terrible in my whole life. I was profusely apologising to the guy in the car. It was a taxi driver, and I'm so lucky that the guy was like the nicest guy ever that I've ever come across. Any other person would have been pretty hot-headed, like what the hell are you doing, you just hit my car kind of thing. But yeah, he was the nicest person ever, and we like exchanged numbers, and he took a photo of my license plate. And again, all day I was like worrying about what was going to happen about that. I was like, oh, is he going to claim on insurance? There's not a mark, but like, is he going to be one of those people? But yeah, later on that day he ended up texting saying that the next time I need a taxi to call him and I can buy him a cheeseburger. But yeah, anyway, I digressed a little bit there. Yeah, and that just shows how much I'm probably doing this mind wandering, worrying about things, panicking about things, overthinking things that are happening that are perhaps out of my control, and thinking about it over and over again isn't going to help the situation, isn't going to help what's going on. It's just making me more miserable. I'm not a bad driver, don't get me wrong. Do I want to put this on the internet? I'm not a bad driver. It was just like, because the traffic was so slow, we were literally not even moving at all. It was like less than a mile an hour. And I was so close to him because it was bumper to bumper traffic that, yeah, I just didn't pay attention for 1 second as I moved forward that slowly, and I was just thinking about things. My point was meant to be that things like driving, what you do like every single day, and you just do it in autopilot a lot of the time, you just drive because you know how to drive, kind of like riding a bike. Being able to practice mindfulness in those situations rather than letting your mind wander. So yeah, that's what we did with CBT this week. I'm not looking forward to having a 2-week break, but it just so happens that next Tuesday, when it would usually be, is Christmas Day, and then the Tuesday after that, when it would usually be, is New Year's Day. So they're both obviously bank holidays and no one's working that day. So yeah, I'll have my next CBT class, and hopefully I will have been able to practice all of the strategies that they've been giving us over the next 2 weeks. So that was my day today. I feel like I might have enough footage for this vlog, so I'm going to spend the night just maybe doing some blog posts, doing a bit of work. Maybe I'll be able to edit this video straight away and get it scheduled for tomorrow. Hopefully, hopefully I can get that done. So yeah, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like down below, subscribe to see more videos like this, and I will see you in tomorrow's Vlogmas. Bye!